All right, so the Sharks continued their road trip against the Colorado Avalanche and unfortunately lost 6-2. So back-to-back losses for the Sharks in regulation as they lose in this one. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, you lost 6 goals. That's not very good. And I'm hearing a lot that people were basically coming to the consensus that the Sharks played good in the first 5 minutes of this game, but in the last 55 minutes, they struggled a lot. And that was pretty true. And, definitely, they scored the first goal of this game, but definitely were getting outscored a lot. Logan Couture had the first goal, and then Alexander Barabanov had the other one. Adin Hill was in net, did pretty badly for the Sharks. He had an .833 save percentage with 5 goals allowed and 25 saves out of 30 shots. So, yeah, definitely pretty bad. For the Avalanche, they had a plethora of goal scorers. They had goals from Samuel Girard, Nazem Kadri, Andrei Burakovsky, Alex Newhook, Logan O'Connor, and Devin Taves, all scoring in this one. And Samuel Girard had 4 points total with 3 assists, and Nazem Kadri had a goal and 2 assists. So, yeah, a lot of points for those guys in this hockey game. Sharks definitely struggled. I mean, this is what the Sharks looked like last year against the Avalanche. We had to play them a lot. I think 8 times last year we played them. And the outcome was pretty much the same in most of those games because we were just getting outshot. We were getting outscored. I mean, yeah. I mean, for the Avalanche, they had Darcy Kemper in net, and he was pretty good. He allowed 2 goals in out of 30. So actually the shots were the same for both teams, but 28 out of 30 saves for Kemper. So yeah, 6-2 final. Just pretty bad for the Sharks. I mean, this is like back-to-back bad losses. Now first the Jets, now the Avalanche on the road. It's tough. They're definitely hitting this point where they need to step up. And obviously this was like the first time they had full strength back because they had a lot of guys out due to COVID. And they're going to play the Wild next game, another team they played a lot last year, as many times as they played the Avs. But right now, the Sharks are still sitting towards the bottom of the standings in terms of the Pacific Division. I mean, obviously they're not far out of, the next position up because it's very early. So it's not like these losses mean too much yet, but I think the Sharks need to get back in the win column. They lost 2 games in a row by 3+ goals. Obviously the Jets game, they lost 4-1 and now 6-2 to the Avalanche. The Avalanche coming into this, I mean, yeah, they're a good team, but they were 5-5-1. Sharks were 6-5 or 7-5-1. So, not terrible for either team, but the Sharks actually had a better record, even though they, albeit they played more games so far, but it's just like they got to play better right now. They have young players that are trying to step up and older players, some of them coming off of COVID reserve, and it was tough. I mean, Adin Hill obviously got the start after having a really good start against Calgary in his last outing, and Reimer came back in after a iffy start against Winnipeg. So, I mean, it was definitely a decision for that goaltender standpoint, but the Avalanche just played really good in this. That's pretty much the ultimate reason they got it. Their shots were a lot sharper than the Sharks' shots. They just looked more on top of it for the 55 minutes where they was really dominating because the Sharks obviously were playing good. And, obviously we're playing the Wild next game, who are one of the best teams in the NHL right now. And they're, definitely, they have 20 points right now. They're up there as one of the best. They're tied for best in the Western Conference. So this might be just as tough as the Avalanche game was tonight. But yeah, tough one for the Sharks. They got to get a break. They got to get back in the win column. They started out really good, obviously, and now they're digressing a little bit, and it's tough. But it's going to be a long season if they can't get this together, and it's going to be a long season regardless. They have a lot of rookies. They have a lot of core players that are trying to step up, but it's a matter of putting those pieces together. And like I mentioned earlier in my stream, they got to get this cohesive unit to work together. Adin Hill's got to get the adequate defense. You can't put all the blame on him. Yeah, Wild for next game. And yeah, 6-2 final, Avalanche wins. I'll see you guys later, and go Sharks.